Jake stares at his screen. 3 months of research, hundreds of forum threads, dozens of YouTube comparisons. He's finally done it. Clicked place order on a $1,400 custom gaming PC build. The parts arrive. He spends a Saturday assembling it, cable managing it, tweaking the BIOS. When it boots up, the desktop glows, the fans hum. Everything runs butter smooth. He launches his favorite game. Frame rates are incredible. Whew, this is exactly what he wanted. Then he puts on his headphones. The same $8 pair he's used for 2 years. Tangled cable. Crackling left speaker. And suddenly, something feels wrong. Not with the PC, with everything around it. Within 3 days, Jake's $1,400 PC has demanded $545 more from him. Custom keycaps, RGB mousepad, studio headphones, monitor arm, cable management kit. He never planned to buy these, but every time he looked at his setup, his brain screamed, "This isn't complete yet." Here's what Jake didn't know. He didn't buy a gaming PC. He bought a ticket into an ecosystem designed to never feel finished. And that ecosystem has a cost you'll never see on any price tag. Most people think they buy things because they want them. Today, I'm going to show you that you buy things because the first thing you bought is demanding them. And once you understand how this works, you'll never look at a purchase the same way again. So what happened next? Within 72 hours of hitting boot for the first time, Jake had ordered 5 more things. Custom keycaps, $65. RGB mousepad, $45. Studio quality headphones, $280. A monitor arm to clean up the desk space, $120. And a cable management kit because those cables were driving him insane, $35. Total damage? $545 on top of the original $1,400. Here's the thing. Jake never planned to buy any of this. There was no budget line for PC accessories I didn't know I needed. But every single time he sat down at his desk, something felt off. Not wrong, just incomplete. Like there was a checklist in his brain that wouldn't stop whispering, "You're not done yet." And here's what most people don't realize. This isn't a bug in Jake's brain. This is a feature. A deliberately engineered mechanism built into the modern consumer economy. See, the tech industry figured something out a long time ago. They don't make their real money from selling you the product. They make it from selling you into an ecosystem. When you buy a gaming PC, you're not buying a box with a motherboard and a GPU. You're buying a ticket into a network of products that are all designed to feel incomplete without each other. Marketing researchers call this ecosystem lock-in, and it's everywhere. Apple doesn't just sell iPhones. They sell a universe where your phone, your watch, your earbuds, and your laptop all talk to each other, and the moment one piece is missing, your brain registers it as a problem to solve. Gaming PC manufacturers do the same thing. Coffee machine companies do it. Even home gym brands do it. Every product is engineered as a node in a network, and the second you buy in, that network starts pulling you toward the next node, and the next, and the next. We need a better name for this. Forget calling it the Diderot effect or lifestyle creep or whatever academic term you've heard before. Let's call it what it really is. Ecosystem expansion cost. The real price of any purchase isn't the number on the price tag. It's the total cost of everything that product forces you to buy just to make your brain shut up about the incompleteness. And the worst part? The companies engineering these ecosystems know exactly what they're doing. They're not selling you satisfaction. They're selling you the feeling that satisfaction is just one more purchase away. But why? Why couldn't Jake just stop? Why does that incomplete feeling have so much power over us? The answer is wired into your brain, and it goes back a lot further than gaming PCs. For millions of years, humans lived in small social groups where your survival depended on one thing: status signaling. Your position in the tribe wasn't just about respect. It was about access to food, protection, and mates. And the way you signaled your status? Through the tools you carried, the weapons you owned, the things you displayed. Here's the key. Inconsistent status signals were dangerous. Imagine a warrior showing up with a high-quality spear, but wearing torn, worthless armor. What message does that send? Either he stole the spear, or he's incompetent at maintaining his gear. Either way, you can't trust him. His status is unclear. An unclear status creates doubt. Your brain evolved to hate that feeling. It evolved to scan for mismatches. When Jake bought that high-end gaming PC, his brain automatically updated his internal status map. He's now a serious gamer. But then he looks around. The cheap headphones, the messy desk, the tangled dollar store cables. His brain registers an error signal. The environment doesn't match the status, and that error signal won't shut up until the mismatch is fixed. But there's a second system at play here, and it's even more powerful. Dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's not. Dopamine fires when you anticipate a reward, not when you receive it. It's the hunting signal, not the eating signal. Every time Jake looks at his setup and sees that it's incomplete, his brain lights up with a prediction. If I fix this, the discomfort will go away. That prediction triggers a dopamine hit, and dopamine is addictive. Jake doesn't actually want the RGB mousepad. He's addicted to the feeling of fixing the mismatch. This isn't about willpower. This is about fighting a 2-million-year-old system that was designed to do exactly this. But hold on. Let's rewind for a second. We've been talking about what happens after Jake bought the PC. But let's go back to the moment he clicked Buy Now. Why did Jake build a $1,400 PC in the first place? Why not an $800 build? Jake thought he was making a rational decision. He spent 3 months researching. He watched comparison videos. He read forum threads. He thought he was being smart. But the decision was rigged from the start. Here's what happened. When Jake looked up PC builds on Reddit and YouTube, he kept seeing the same 3 tiers. Budget builds around $600, mid-range builds around $1,400, and enthusiast builds pushing $2,500 or more. His brain automatically eliminated the budget option. That's not powerful enough for AAA games. And it eliminated the enthusiast option. That's overkill, I don't need that. So he landed on mid-range, the sweet spot, the rational choice. Except here's the thing. That $2,500 enthusiast build, it wasn't there for people who actually want to spend $2,500. It was there to make the $1,400 build look reasonable. Behavioral economists call this the decoy effect. The expensive option exists to make the middle option feel like a win. But it gets worse. The more choices Jake had to make, GPU brand, RAM speed, case style, RGB or no RGB, the more anxious he got. What if I pick the wrong GPU? What if I regret not getting faster RAM? That doubt never left. And the way Jake's brain dealt with that doubt? By compensating. By upgrading peripherals after the fact to prove to himself that he made the right call. And then there's the final trap. Default bias. Your brain didn't evolve to seek happiness. It evolved to avoid regret. So when Jake was staring at that checkout button, his brain wasn't asking, will this make me happy? It was asking, if I don't buy this, will I regret it? And the answer felt like, probably. So he bought it. The problem isn't that Jake made a bad choice. The problem is that the choice was designed to be nearly impossible to say no to. Now here's where it gets really dangerous. Everything we've talked about so far, that's when you choose the anchor. But there's a version of this trap that's even worse. It's when you don't buy the anchor at all. It's when other people set it for you. Let's say Jake gets promoted. Senior software engineer. Nice raise, more responsibility. He's excited. But here's the thing. He doesn't go out and buy anything. He's being smart. He's avoiding the trap. But then he walks into his new team's workspace. and everyone around him has a dual monitor setup. Mechanical keyboards that cost $200 or more. Noise-canceling headphones. Standing desks. Herman Miller chairs. Nobody says a word to Jake about his single monitor or his basic keyboard. Nobody pressures him. But just by existing in his field of vision every single day, they become his new reference point. Sociologists have a term for this: reference group shift. When you move into a new social circle, your brain automatically recalibrates what normal looks like based on that group. And here's the dangerous part. You don't even realize it's happening. You just start feeling this vague anxiety, this sense that something about your setup doesn't quite fit anymore. There's a concept in psychology called relative deprivation theory. It says that your happiness isn't based on what you have in absolute terms. It's based on the gap between what you have and what the people around you have. A person making $100,000 a year working with people who make $200,000 will feel poorer than someone making $60,000 working with people who make $50,000. Same income. Completely different experience. This is why so many people get trapped in what's called the golden handcuffs. They're not just spending to maintain the stuff. They're spending to maintain membership in the tribe. Leaving that lifestyle doesn't just mean downgrading your things. It means social exile. So what's the solution? It's not avoiding promotions or avoiding people. It's actively choosing who you spend time with. If you surround yourself with people who value freedom over status symbols, your brain will recalibrate in that direction instead. So how do you break out of this? Here's the 3-layer defense system. Layer 1, the ecosystem audit. This happens before you buy. Before you click Add to Cart on any anchor item, you need to ask yourself one question. Not, can I afford this PC, but can I afford to be a PC gamer? Sit down, make a list. What peripherals does this thing demand? What accessories? What upgrades? Add it all up. If the total ecosystem cost is higher than your budget, you don't buy the anchor. Period. You're not saying no to the PC. You're saying no to the $2,000 lifestyle that comes with it. Layer 2, the satisfaction lock. This is for after you buy. You need a commitment device, something that forces your brain to fight the upgrade urge. Jake could post publicly, "I'm building a gaming setup under $1,500 total, including everything." Public commitment creates accountability. Now every time his brain says, "You need that RGB mouse pad," he has to wrestle with the fact that he told people he wouldn't. Social pressure becomes your firewall. Layer 3, identity reframing. This is for people already stuck in the spiral. If you're in deep, you can't just downgrade. That word triggers an ego threat. Your brain hears failure. Instead, you reframe it as strategic simplification. You're not downgrading. You're optimizing for what actually matters. Jake sells off his RGB peripherals, but he doesn't say, "I ran out of money." He says, "I realized RGB lighting doesn't improve my frame rate. I'd rather spend that money on better games." Same action, different story. And here's the key. Research on self-perception theory shows that people change their beliefs based on their actions, not the other way around. If Jake starts acting like someone who prioritizes function over aesthetics, his brain will eventually believe he is that person. The trap isn't permanent, but you have to understand what you're fighting. Here's what Jake, and all of us, need to understand. When you buy an anchor item, you're not buying a product. You're buying a decision tree. Every branch on that tree is another purchase you're going to have to make. Another choice you're going to have to face. The industry isn't selling gaming PCs. They're selling entry tickets into a spending pathway. And that pathway is designed to never end. There's always one more upgrade, one more peripheral, one more thing that doesn't quite match. So the real question isn't, should I buy this? The real question is, am I ready to commit to this entire system? Because you're not just buying a thing. You're entering into a relationship with it. And like every relationship, it's going to demand time, attention, and resources from you. It's going to ask you to prove you're serious. It's going to test your commitment every time you look at it and feel that little whisper. This could be better. Jake learned this the hard way. You don't have to. If this video stopped you from making a purchase you'll regret, hit that like button. And if you want to understand the other invisible traps keeping you broke, check out the next video. I'll see you there.